My boyfriend broke up with me because his friend lied about us hooking up. He didn't ask my side and just ended things, saying he can't trust me. I love him, but he's convinced I cheated. Hey Reddit, I can barely believe this is happening. My boyfriend or ex, I guess, just broke up with me because his best friend lied and told him we hooked up. I don't even know where to start, honestly. One day, we were perfectly fine, and the next, he's accusing me of cheating with his best friend. It's ridiculous and feels so unfair. Here's what happened. My boyfriend, Liam, has a friend named Jake who's always been, well, a bit over the top. He's the life of the party kind of guy who thinks he's charming, but he's also very touchy and flirtatious. I always ignored it because I loved Liam and knew he trusted me. Or, I thought he did. A few days ago, Liam asked to meet up urgently, and the second we met, he looked furious. He started accusing me of hooking up with Jake, saying Jake confessed everything and told him we'd been sneaking around behind his back. I was stunned. Jake and I barely even spoke whenever we all hung out together, and I would never, ever cheat on Liam. I tried to defend myself, but he wouldn't even listen. Liam was set on believing Jake's story and didn't ask a single question about my side. It was like he'd already made up his mind. He just said something like, "I can't be with someone I can't trust," and walked away. I begged him to listen to me, but he wouldn't. I'm heartbroken. I still love Liam, but it hurts to think he'd believe his friend over me without a second thought. I never did anything to make him question my loyalty, and it feels like everything we had was just gone. I don't know what to do, or if there's even a way to fix this. Part of me wants to try and reach out, but another part of me thinks if he's willing to believe Jake so easily, maybe he never trusted me at all. Update. So, I thought it couldn't get worse, but it did. I decided I couldn't just let this go without trying, so I went to talk to Jake myself. I thought if I could get him to admit he was lying, I could somehow salvage my relationship with Liam. But when I confronted Jake, he was completely calm and smug, acting like he had no idea what I was talking about. I was desperate, asking him over and over why he would do this. Jake finally admitted that he made up the whole thing because he was protecting Liam. He claimed he saw me as someone who wasn't good enough for his best friend and thought I'd eventually hurt him. So, in his twisted mind, he decided to break us up before I supposedly broke Liam's heart. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told him he had no right to interfere in our relationship and demanded he tell Liam the truth, but he just smirked and said something along the lines of, "Liam already believes me, so why would I go and ruin that?" It felt like I was in some kind of nightmare. The guy who was supposed to be my boyfriend's best friend was openly admitting he destroyed our relationship, and he felt justified in doing it. I felt so helpless. Liam wouldn't talk to me or hear my side, and Jake was doubling down on his lies, pretending to be the hero in all of this. I've never felt so alone. I don't know if Liam's ever going to believe me, and it feels like Jake has all the power here. Part of me wants to just accept that Liam made his choice and move on, but it's so hard to let go of someone I still love. I know a lot of people would say to just move on and forget about him, but that's easier said than done. It hurts knowing he trusted Jake over me without even considering my side. I'm at a complete loss, but I'll update if anything changes. Another update. Things took an unexpected turn today. Liam showed up at my place completely unannounced. I hadn't heard from him since the breakup, so seeing him at my door was shocking. He looked uncomfortable, almost guilty, and it was clear something was up. He asked if we could talk, and I let him in, bracing myself for whatever he was about to say. It turns out, one of our mutual friends found out what happened and confronted Jake about it. She knew I would never do something like that and didn't believe the story from the beginning. According to her, she pushed Jake pretty hard, calling him out for his lie and threatening to tell Liam if he didn't come clean. Apparently, Jake cracked under the pressure and finally admitted he'd made it all up. She went straight to Liam and told him everything. Liam sat across from me, looking like he'd aged years since we last saw each other. He apologized, over and over, saying he never should have trusted Jake and should have at least heard my side. He admitted he felt humiliated and betrayed by his best friend, but he couldn't undo the damage it caused between us. I could see he was genuinely remorseful, but I couldn't shake the hurt of him not trusting me when it mattered most. He asked if I could forgive him and if we could try again, but it didn't feel like a simple yes or no answer. Part of me wanted to take him back immediately, but another part of me wondered if this would always haunt us. If he could believe such a lie so easily, what would happen the next time someone tried to come between us? It was a question I couldn't ignore, and I told him that. We talked for a long time, both of us crying at different points. Liam said he'd do whatever it took to earn back my trust and prove he was willing to fight for our relationship. He admitted he'd been naive to think Jake had his best interests at heart and promised he would cut ties with him. But even hearing all that, I felt hesitant. Right now, we've decided to take things slowly. Liam has been texting and calling to check in, and we've gone on a couple of dates since that night. He's doing everything he can to show he's sorry, and I can tell he regrets the entire situation deeply. But it's a slow process, and I'm still struggling with the hurt and betrayal I felt from both him and Jake. I'm not saying everything is magically fixed, but we're trying. I still love him, and I think part of me always will, but it's going to take time to feel like I can truly trust him again. I guess we'll see how things go from here. Final update. It's been a few weeks since Liam and I started taking things slowly, and I wanted to share what's happened since then. To be honest, the process of rebuilding trust has been tougher than I imagined, but in some ways, it's also brought us closer. After our initial talk, I set some boundaries with Liam. I told him I needed to see consistent actions proving he was serious about this. He respected that completely and even asked what specific things would help me feel more secure. We both agreed to start going to couples counseling to work through everything together, and it's been eye-opening. Having a neutral person help us unpack the situation has really helped us understand why things went so wrong. Liam also took it upon himself to talk to Jake and officially end their friendship. I wasn't there when it happened, but Liam told me Jake tried to play the victim and claimed he'd only been looking out for him. Liam saw right through it and told him he didn't want to be friends with someone who would destroy another person's relationship out of jealousy or ego. Hearing that helped a lot. It felt like he was taking a stand not just for me, but for the values he wanted in his life. In terms of our relationship, I'd be lying if I said there weren't moments of doubt. Sometimes, I catch myself wondering what would happen if he's ever put in a similar situation. But Liam has been patient and understanding whenever those feelings come up. He doesn't just brush them aside, he lets me talk about them and reminds me he's there to listen. That's made a big difference. I've also been doing my own work on healing and rebuilding my self-worth. This whole thing really knocked me down, and I realized that part of why it hurt so much was because I'd never had my loyalty questioned like this before. It forced me to ask myself if I was staying with him for the right reasons and to dig deep into my own values and boundaries. Right now, we're still together, but I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm proud of the progress we've made, and I can see Liam is genuinely sorry and working hard to rebuild what we lost. I'm not sure what the future holds, but for now, I feel cautiously optimistic. And, weirdly enough, I feel stronger and more self-assured after everything. I know now that if I ever have to walk away, I can do it with my head held high. Thank you again to everyone who's supported me through this. It's been a rough journey, but I'm grateful for the lessons learned and for the chance to rebuild a relationship I once thought was beyond saving. Here's hoping for a healthier, happier future, no matter what it ends up looking like.